everyone, welcome back to Homegrown Passion. I am so happy and excited that I have all my plants in the Bato buckets. I'm ready for the 2025 farmers market season. And if you want to see how I accomplished all this, stay tuned. Well, I'm getting the second coat of paint on the Bato bucket area. I thought it would only take one coat, but a lot of it absorbed into the concrete, so I decided to go ahead and bite the bullet and put the second coat in. And once this dries, I'm going to start setting up the Bato buckets. And the first thing I will do is the drain lines, and then the Bato buckets, the elbows. So in the next part of the video for tomorrow, I'll show you exactly how that is all set up, how I connect everything with the rubber boots and place the Bato buckets into the drain line with the elbows and fill it up with the Pearlite and get it ready for planting. What a beautiful day. It is bright sunshine for middle of January. You know, the weather forecasters were calling for clouds, so that's what I was expecting. But it is like 78 degrees here in the greenhouse. It feels amazing. So with it being so warm and working in here all day putting up my Bato buckets, I am going to do a thing called Burp the Greenhouse, which I'm going to bring in some outside cool air because the humidity outside is so low, and get all the condensation out of the greenhouse and pulled up through the exhaust fans. And it just makes such a big difference, just like opening your house in the springtime. It just makes a big difference in the smell and the feel of the greenhouse, and always makes the plants so much happier. So the first thing I have to do is put my drain lines back together, because I took them all apart, took with the rubber boots, took them outside, got them all cleaned up, ran pipes through them to get all the roots out. And I did mark them with each side of the greenhouse, because we call the one side the road side and the other side is the creek side, instead of trying to do left and right and trying to get confused. So I got to put them all back together, and then after that I'm going to put the Bato buckets in. So last year I learned my lesson. I didn't mark the drain pipes of where they go back together, and it was kind of confusing to get them back in the right alignment. So this year I went ahead and marked each one as where it goes to. So this is road C, and it's going to match up to the drain line up there. That's road C, because this is the road side of the greenhouse. And then down there is D, and this is road D for the end of it. So I can put them together a lot easier, not have to flip them all around. Okay, I'm going to get all the pipes lined up, and then I'm going to go back through with the drill and tighten up the rubber boots so I don't have any leakage. One thing I forgot to mention, when you're tightening up the rubber boots, you're going to want to make sure, let me get this guy in there, that your holes are straight up and down. You don't want them tilted, because then the Bato buckets won't fit in them perfectly and you'll have leaks all over the place. So yeah, make sure everything is up and down the best you can, and go ahead and tighten it back up again. That one's tight. Let me double check. Yep, nice and tight. I have to lower the support posts for the trellis system, because we put them up like this so we can do all the painting and cleaning, and these play a crucial part in the vine crops because the tomatoes get so heavy. I have these wires that go across the purlins here, and it's just so heavy. If I didn't have the support posts, my whole greenhouse would sag. So you got to make sure that if you have something heavy onto your frame, that you have everything supported correctly. So I got to lower these down. And the other reason I want to lower them down is I know how to place my Bato buckets, because some of them are by a hole, and I got to make sure my Bato bucket goes the right way and they keep going back and forth in a good pattern. So now I have the post in place. I'm going to snug it up so it supports everything all summertime for me. Oh yeah, feels good. Well, a change of plan, adding more work to my day, but I was looking at my nutrient line, and I was going to reuse it from last year, but the way the holes are where the teas go in, they always leak, and I want to make sure that they're exactly over the bucket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out my teas with all the emitters and the stakes and soak them and get them cleaned up and just do a whole new nutrient line, put the buckets down, and then pop the teas back in so they're right over the buckets, because I hate fighting all summer long and you have water on the floor and then it gets all algae and all gross and everything. And I have like 100 feet of this stuff. It's very inexpensive, so I think I'm going to go ahead and replace it. Well, I have all the discharge lines in place. All the rubber boots are all nice and snug, so hopefully I don't get any leaks this summer. And I started putting the Bato buckets down in place. And I forgot to mention to you guys that this is a drain to waste system. So what that means is the water goes, nutrient water goes into the Bato bucket and then it drains out. But I always get questions, you're wasting nutrients, you're wasting water. Well, we really monitor how much water goes into the bucket, nutrient water goes in, and then how much comes out. Because I don't want to waste money on nutrients and have them flush down the back of the system. And another good thing about our greenhouse is because it is mostly NFT channels, we built it on a 4% slope. So the high part is up here by the exhaust fans and it slopes all the way back down towards the wet wall, which makes it really nice for my Bato bucket system. I don't have to build any stands to have it slope down so it drains. I can just put the drain lines on the concrete with the Bato buckets and it's just so much easier. So as I'm installing the Bato buckets, there's just a couple components. You have two elbows that you put together. And the elbows serve a double purpose. It keeps a little bit of water reservoir, nutrient water reservoir in the bottom of the bucket, and it keeps your growing medium from washing away. And it just snaps into the bottom of the bucket. Here, let me show you. And then once you get that all in place, you put it into your discharge line, make sure it snaps in, and ready to go on to the next bucket. Another major question that I'm always asked is how far apart are the Bato buckets? So they are 16 inches on center. So from the center of this hole to the center of the second hole, it's 16 inches. And to put in reference, the distance between the two buckets is about 6.5 inches. But now it's time for my least favorite job. It's the dustiest one in the whole greenhouse. Luckily, I only have to do it once or twice a year, and that's filling up the Bato buckets with perlite. This year we decided to go with 100% perlite. We used to mix some vermiculite in and some peat in, but since we have so much perlite that we won from the auction a year ago, we picked it up in January last year, I decided just to go ahead and use all the perlite. But when you're doing perlite, if you can't do it outside and you do it inside your greenhouse, make sure you have good ventilation, you wear a mask, because this stuff is so dusty and it's just terrible. If you breathe it in, it just makes you cough. So just take your precautions and put your mask on and turn on your fans. So the perlite I'm using comes in 4 cubic feet bags, and each one of these bags will fill up 9 Bato buckets. And it's the, it's the horticultural coarse perlite, so it's a little bit coarser, not quite as fine as some of the other ones you can buy at the big box stores. Like this bag is about $12, which is way more cost effective than buying the little bags for $5, $6 from the store. So go to your local nursery. I will put a link down below where we usually get our perlite from, and you can contact them and have it shipped to you, or if you're close enough you can pick it up. But yeah, go with the bigger bags, it's way cheaper. Well, had another change of plan. I was going to reuse the spaghetti lines with the emitters, but after looking at them and trying to wash them, I could just see a lot of calcium buildup and a lot of debris on them. I didn't want to take a chance of having any plants go down, so we're replacing everything with the new nutrient line, and it's really easy, and these emitters are pennies. They're not that expensive. Just to put them in, all you do is you take your little hole punch a hole into your nutrient line, and then you stick the emitter, pop it right in, and it seals because it has a little lip on it, and it seals really good. And it seals much better than those teas because the teas always leaked. And then I did reuse the stakes, because I was able to clean them up and got all the old roots and debris out of them, so I am reusing the stakes. So as I'm putting the stakes onto the spaghetti tubes, I'm sticking them into the perlite because I want to get the perlite nice and moist before I plant. So I'm just going to run some water through in probably about an hour, and it should make the medium all stick together, so when you go to put the plant in, it stays in place. Well, here we are the next day. Yesterday I finished topping off all the Bato buckets with the perlite, got the nutrient line installed with the emitters, the spaghetti tubes, and the stakes, and I went ahead and watered the buckets overnight so this perlite would be nice and moist, so when I plant the plants there's enough support to hold them in there. So here's how I planted the rows of the Bato buckets. The row closest to the plastic towards the road is where I have my determinate paste tomatoes. Put them in that position because I don't have to walk around the plants, and they're not going to be in for that long, just maybe a few months, and once I get my paste tomatoes I'm going to pull them and plant some green beans over there. The next row is where I'm putting my peppers because it's going to be a longer term crop, and I want to be able to walk on both sides of the plant to be able to harvest. And the same for the other inside row. It's going to be my Rabolski. Again, I got to walk on each side of the plant to harvest. It's going to be in there all summer. And then the far row by the NFT channels, I'm going to put my cucumbers because they do grow up so nice and straight and they don't branch out, so that's easier to walk up inside both the sides over there to pick the cucumbers. So hopefully this should work out pretty good for harvesting this summer. So I've done a few videos already on planting in the Bato buckets. It's pretty straightforward. You take your plant, dig a little hole in the growing medium. Like I said, this is nice and moist so it doesn't cave in on you. Stick it in, pack it down, and you want to make sure your stake is really close to the baby plant because otherwise the roots are so little, you want to make sure it gets all the moisture it can. And the other thing to remember is you want to keep your emitters, or not the emitters, but your stakes out of the perlite a little bit, because as the plant grows and the root system gets bigger, you don't want the roots going up inside your emitter and clogging everything up, because I've had that happen so many times over the year. You pull the stake off and there's this big long root in it. So if you keep it up a little bit, you avoid that problem. I hope you liked today's video and taking the journey of getting all my plants in the Bato buckets. It's so much fun starting a new season. 2025 I think it's going to be a wonderful year. I still have a lot of projects to get done in the greenhouse, and I'll do videos and post them for you guys to see them. And like always, please leave me any questions, comments, and suggestions down below. And don't forget to like the video, and I'll see you guys next time.